All right, hello and welcome to episode 44 of the Too Hard to Pass podcast. I am your
Yo,
co-host, Juan Martinez. And to my left or to my right, Jacques Slay.
what up, what up? Welcome to the show, everybody. Got a lot of cool things happening today.
Yeah,
A lot of cool things to talk about. I don't know why Juan is
I
doing that,
tried.
but you know what?
I
We'll
tried
just
to hold
work
my
with it.
breath for as long as I
Yeah,
tried
we'll
to do
just
the whole I tried to see
we'll
how
just
long I
keep
can
it
hold my
going.
breath.
We'll just play along with him today. Yeah, lots of cool stuff in the show today. Some stuff I'm really excited to talk about. So
Yeah.
I'll let Juan get into everything, but yeah, we're gonna some cool stuff for you guys today.
All right, totally. So we'll start with the Adidas Superstar, which is a sneaker that I don't always think about, but every few years Adidas reminds us, hey, remember the Superstars?
Right.
And this
Yeah.
year they're rolling out the Superstars once more, and they are doing it with a campaign that I thought was pretty, I would say,
Special.
apropos. Yeah, special,
It's special.
appropriate.
I would say it's a special one. And
Yeah.
the thing that stands out to me is like they spent a lot of money on this one.
I mean,
Like this has
all
a
the stars are
lot of
here.
people in it. Yeah. Everybody that you can think is there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, for those who haven't seen the ads, they started out with Samuel L. Jackson talking
Yeah.
about, things that are timeless, like the pyramids and all that stuff, and then cut to him showing his superstars. And of course, he has to break out with the his iconic line, well, iconic
Just got
word, which
yeah.
we playfully messed with on Hard Pass. If you haven't seen that episode yet, go check that out. But
Yep.
yeah, no, I thought it was pretty great. I mean, if you're gonna bring in somebody to reintroduce the Adidas superstars, who better than Samuel L. Jackson? I mean, everybody knows who Sam Jackson is. Everybody knows
Yep.
the line. Everybody knows what he's about and how creative he can be, and how, like, once you hear the voice, you know who it is. You don't even have to see him. You just know the voice. It's iconic.
Yeah.
And the presentation is, and they don't say it like, the pyramids are timeless, the superstars are timeless, but so is Sam Jackson. So they
Yep.
picked the right guy for that particular, kind of ad. And then the follow-up was a more of what I expect, when it comes to these kinds of rollouts. They bring in the stars, like you said. There's Anthony Edwards, Glorilla, Missy Elliott, a bunch of other celebrities that are, I'm assuming, for the Gen Zers or are younger.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm
That
not
we
sure who
don't
you are,
that
but
we're
I'm
not
assuming you're
necessarily
cool.
familiar
I'm
with.
assuming you're cool.
Yeah. I'm assuming you're somebody special because they're using you in this ad kind of thing. I was looking at it earlier. I'm gonna tell you some of the names that I'm not super familiar with all of the names.
Right.
Who is it? Where was it? Oh, I just saw a tweet about it today. But like we said, Glorilla, Missy Elliott, and then there was Anthony Edwards. Oh God! Now, of course, it's going to take all day now for me to find that tweet. It was
But anyways,
just on my timeline. Yeah,
but all the stars are here. All the
yeah,
stars are here.
all the stars.
Shout out to
A
Norm
bunch of
Macdonald,
people.
R.I.P. But yeah, no, it's definitely like people that I don't recognize. But like you said, we assume that they are people of noteworthiness.
No, yeah,
And
they're noteworthy individuals.
yes, exactly. And I'm not
But
one to be
now
like,
I'm
oh,
mad.
who are these people? They don't deserve to be on this ad. I'm like, no, these Adidas knows what they're doing. They've, talked to the people who know things, and they want to bring in those kinds of celebrities and influencers and whoever you want to call it. So, shout out to them. Like I said, it's a really well implemented ad, but I just love the fact that every few years, it's almost like clockwork. I remember when I was still doing the sneaker thing, like, I just randomly, a big old box. I remember Adidas sent me like this big old box, and it's just a superstar. And it's like, well, this is the Adidas Superstar. There's nothing really different about it. I'm assuming it's a premium version, but it's just them saying like, hey, we're putting our stamp on this. Don't forget about this. And, this is our staple. This is the Adidas shoe. I mean,
Yeah,
we've had our Stan Smith runs. Right now we're on our Samba runs, and all those kinds of sneakers. But the Superstar is Adidas's one. Like, that
yeah,
is, I believe, the A1 sneaker. And And I just love that every few years they remind us of the place of the superstar in the hierarchy of Adidas, and and they spare no expense when it comes to that.
Yeah, 100, and deservedly so. The shoe is an icon, especially in the sneaker world, and culturally, it's an icon. Like everybody recognizes that shoe. They know that shoe. Whether they know what it's called or not, there's probably a different story. But it's a shoe that has lasted. That's took on the test of time, and it's still here. So you have that. And the people in the video are Anthony Edwards, Missy Elliott, Glorilla, Jenny, Tizo Touchdown, Mark Gonzalez, Gabriette, and then Sam Jack. I don't know. I don't know who Gabriette or Jenny is, but
Yeah, I think it's like I'm like 50-50 with that. I'm like, I know Missy, I know Anthony
yeah,
Edwards, I know Sam Jackson, of course, but yeah, no, I just love it. It's interesting though that Run DMC is not part of this rollout, or I don't know if they're saving them because, when you think of superstars, shell toes, whatever you want to call them, think of Run
yeah,
DMC. So
definitely.
I wonder if like eventually they bring them back just to remind people that they were the ones who elevated the superstars in a way to where they are today. And yeah, I know. I just wonder. I was just curious about that. Like, you talk about, Sam Jackson talking about timeless things. Run DMC's timeless. So I wonder if they're saving them or if there's something special, or is there a particular anniversary, or was this just another one of those like Adidas rolls them out every so often? It's like, I don't know if there's a particular anniversary, but good on them because I always love it. Like, just to remind everybody of Adidas is, iconic top level shoe.
Yeah, the as far as Run DMC goes, I would imagine that they'll be a part of it.
I can't
Because
imagine them
we've been
not
in the
being it.
business, yeah, because we've been in the business for so long, I think we often get jaded and be like, oh, we're gonna hear the Run DMC story over and over again. But I think it's a story that needs to continually be told. I mean, we hear other stories over and over again, so there's no reason for us not to hear the Run DMC over and over again because it's important. And it really solidified that shoe in culture in a way that other sneakers haven't. I mean, other cultural moments haven't. So my assumption is that they're going to save the Run DMC part for later in the campaign, or maybe there's something else that's going to happen. This is like
Mhm.
the big blowout in the beginning, and then to kind of help maintain the momentum, they'll do a Run DMC piece. Or I guess the other option could be that they're not going to mention it on this campaign kind of thing. They're
Right.
going to save it for the next campaign, which
Hmm.
would which I understand, but it's also like weird because I mean, how many people are? I guess how many of the new generation are like Run DMC like literate kind of thing?
Right.
Like, there's not a lot of that people, especially the people that they're aiming to touch with this one that aren't they're not necessarily Run DMC literate. But then again, Missy Elliott's here, and that's not a common like name now. We know it
Hmm.
obviously. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I don't think there's an anniversary tied to it. I think this is just like a moment for the superstar that they're trying to get more energy back into the superstar. The energy has been focused a lot on the Samba. And
Yep.
so I think they're trying to transition that over to another sneaker, make that transition so they start, another sneaker becomes a part of the conversation.
Right. Right. I guess this is the time for me to like do a little bit of a quick story time because I did bring up Run DMC. Um, a couple of years ago, when I was still doing the sneaker thing, I was still on Cakes on Fire. I had the opportunity to interview DMC. This was set up by our mutual friend of the program, one of the greats, Jazzy.
Uh-huh.
She set that up, and I got to talk to him for about almost an hour and a half. It was just a
That's
long.
sick.
It wasn't even like it barely felt like an interview. It felt like a conversation with somebody, like a guru, someone who's just been through it all, and we just had like this great conversation, and it was amazing. Like I cherish it to this day. I don't know where the recording of it is. I never got a chance to post it
What?
on Kicks on Fire. Yeah. Uh, I
I'm
don't
so
know where it is.
confused.
I know you're not the only one. As soon as it
Uh,
was over, I was like, "Oh man, I'm gonna like get this all ready for what is it like a day or two or a week from now? For I forget like exactly the timeline of when it was supposed to go live." I
Like
I
what?
don't know
How
what
did?
happened to
What do you mean
recording.
you don't know what happened to it? Like you just don't like you didn't you never got it or
I had it. I recorded it. Like I had the recording and everything. Like it was a great, like I said, great conversation. Just like I came
oh
away from it like
wow.
motivated. Like I felt like a life motivating like talk and everything. Like I just was just ready to go, ready to like face the world afterwards. I was like, man, DMC's the best. And I don't know where the recording went. Like it was just I had it. Like
Oh.
I had it saved. Like I saved it on my thing, and then when I went to go check it like a couple days later, I was like, "What? Where'd it go? I don't know where it went." And I'm like, "Oh my
That's
God."
crazy.
And I never told Jazzy about it. I never posted. I just never mentioned it to her. And this is my chance to apologize. I'm so sorry. And I apologize to DMC that it never got
Wow.
posted. I was like,
I don't
it's
know
just
what
so
I would do. That would
there's
drive
so
me
many.
insane.
You're not the only one. This is the only time I have ever lost that kind of recording, for like an interview or something like that. And it was just so, it was so heartbreaking. I was like, I can't believe of all the times to have like something go wrong that,
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
man. But like, I still remember that conversation. Like it's been over a decade, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, to this day, I still think about that conversation every once in a while. I'm like, damn, DMC was just, dude was just on it, just talking about like, the rise of Run DMC, how much, Adidas meant to them and all of that. And just, his life afterwards. I,
Yeah.
it just bums me out. Like now I'm like, oh, now I'm sad again.
Yeah, that
But
makes me sad. Thinking,
I'm like,
goodness gracious, with
dude,
Run D.
like,
Wow.
it was just,
I,
it was a great time, just amazing convo. And I don't know where it went. Like, I don't know, was those like it was only meant you were only meant to hear it once, you were only meant to experience it once. Like it's one of those things that like I try to justify it in my head, like maybe I was only meant to like hear it once. Maybe I was only meant to like
it was only meant to be a conversation. That's it. That
yeah, it
was
was only
it.
meant
It
to be a
wasn't for
conversation,
the world to see.
not something for yeah. Maybe it was
Wow.
that way, but I also like, man, I just wasted a whole bunch of people's time.
Yeah. Wow.
It's like, oh crap.
You know what? It happens, and it is what it is. Gotta just kind of keep it pushing. Like it happens sometimes,
Sorry,
but
Jazzy, don't kill me.
that's oh yeah. Oh well,
Yeah. Yeah,
she
I'm
she
sure.
gets it. I think
I'm sure DMC has go through all of those things. I'm sure he's had like a million conversations since then. But
right.
to me, that was like, oh man, dude, that was everything. Like, I was like, one of my favorites from like back in the days. Like, I
From
wasn't
back in
like
the day, yeah.
I didn't listen to Run DMC when they were actually like on top. But later on, like I got to hear and go back to like the history of rap and hip hop and everything, and like I heard Run DMC and I'm like, man, love that stuff. And it's
Yeah.
like, and then again, and a chance to talk to DMC for that long, I was like, damn, so cool. And I was on a high for like that day or so, and then when I went back to like look for him, I'm like,
Wow.
oh oh damn, where'd it
Well,
go?
maybe maybe it just wasn't it just wasn't meant to be. They say everything happens for a reason. We just don't know what that reason is with this one.
Yeah, totally. Ugh, just a bit of a bummer, a bit of a downer there. But what's not a downer is the superstar, and I think I still have that big fancy box that Adidas sent me of their superstars. I don't even know if I actually wore those, but that was like I said, maybe a whatever, how many years ago. But
Yeah.
yeah, I have a couple here, and maybe this is a time to break them out. I have my favorite pair of superstars is actually this. It's got Boost in it. It was during like the when
Mm.
Boost was very much Adidas's thing. They released a version of the superstar with the black upper, but with a white shell toe, and it had
Oh
Boost
yeah, yeah.
insoles in it,
Had boost insoles. That's a
and
good
it's pretty
one.
comfy. So I think I might just break those out now that I've seen this rollout of the superstars, and just be like, channel my inner Sam Jackson, and just say
Yeah.
mother bleeper to everybody in sight.
To everybody in town. Yeah, everybody you see today. Yeah, I have a pair of Pharrell Prime Knit
Ah,
superstars that are pretty comfortable. So
cool.
yeah, it's like these alternative versions of the shoe are pretty nice.
Very cool. And that's the neat thing about the superstars is that they've been able to transcend through the years and just, go through different iterations but this is more the traditional look that everybody
Yeah.
remembers. So good on them for that. Keeping it on the Adidas side of things, Jacques, the Adidas Dame X has been revealed. We've kind of known what it looks like for a while, but
Yeah.
and I not gonna lie, I thought it already came out, but this is the official reveal. Commercials and all that stuff are out, and I thought the commercial, like, Adidas has been on a roll for a while when it comes to their
Mm-hmm.
ads, whether it's, traditional commercials or digital. They've been kind of on a roll, and this is a continuation of that. Anthony Edwards, the superstar just now, and now the Dame X commercial is pretty cool. It's got an infomercial kind of style to it. Very
Yeah.
self-aware, very cheesy. Like
Very
they know
self-aware. Yeah.
they feel they know they're being cornball in a sense, but then Dame kind of breaks it by saying the shoe is $90 because I think everybody was in on it. They're like, oh, they're really selling the shoe. They even do the joke of like you can wear it on and off the court and all that stuff. I thought that was a
Yeah.
pretty interesting, like if you know kind of thing. Um, but when Dame said $90, like I guess the host was like, what? $90? Why? But that's kind of been the Dame ethos is to make his sneakers affordable, make them for the kids.
Yeah. Yep.
And I always thought that was like I said, it's a banger of a commercial. The Dame X, I think, kind of like with the Hardens, kind of when it comes to like, the looks and interest, the interesting vibe to it, I think it stands out compared to like previous models.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, good on Dame for getting to 10 sneakers.
Yeah, I mean, Dame has always been a real one, and so like I'm happy to see him reach 10 signature shoes,
Hmm.
and the fact that he's keeping it $90, like that's clutch. And then the commercial was spot on. Like we haven't seen a lot of Dame commercials for the last few signature shoes.
Yeah.
So this one obviously represented a milestone of it being number 10, and like the tone of the commercial is great. It's fun, it's lighthearted, it's not taking itself too seriously, which I actually appreciate, and really highlights the shoe and the message that Dame has, that he wants to make his shoes affordable. So like all of those things kind of in succession make has really gotten me more interested in the shoe actually. I don't have a pair yet, but I plan on getting my hands on a pair so I can do some like quick reviews and first thoughts on them.
Yeah. No, I mean, and like I said, good on Adidas for kind of getting people interested in their signature shoes, like signature shoe lines later in the game.
Yeah,
We've kind of had these lull years when it comes to Dame's shoe, with Donovan Mitchell's shoe, even James Harden's shoe, but lately they've been kind of on a pretty good roll. And
yeah,
it doesn't happen often, right? You always, the peak is typically like the intro, the first couple ones, and then it kind of like the non-Michael Jordan ones, like it kind of fades into whatever, might hit a little peak every once in a while, but it kind of just fades into obscurity. But
yeah,
Adidas, they've been kind of doing a good job with Dame and Hardens and like just giving us this second life that we never imagined would actually take place because the energy is always there with the debut, right? Like we've been to these
yep,
events where they introduce the signature shoe for the first time. Everybody's hyped, everybody's pumped. And for a lot of these signature shoe lines, I kind of feel like that's the peak. Like you did it. Congratulations. Good for you. I'm happy for you.
yeah,
And it's kind of like, and then afterwards it's like, oh, we'll see what happens. But it
yeah,
feels like that's the crowning achievement. But now that we're getting this like second win for some of these, and I think, and personally, I think it's great. And Adidas is, capturing that energy with these, pretty cool ads. I don't remember. I don't think Adidas did anything with Harden, but maybe they'll do something for the 10th. It is the 9th right now, but maybe for the 10th they'll do something similar to what they're doing with Dame right now. So, but yeah, no, I just feel like good on Dame. The injury is kind of a bummer. I guess maybe that's why he wasn't. Maybe that's why they brought in Chelsea Gray and Sophie Cunningham. Maybe to
hmm,
like do the athletic parts because
yeah,
maybe they filmed that while he was injured. So that's also a bit of a bummer that we couldn't see Dame do what Dame does.
yeah.
Um, but anyways, oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say it's good that they're like passing the baton almost and adding more like
Mm,
athletes to the Dame roster, which is cool as well.
yeah. Since we're talking about Dame at the moment, he is injured. And he was surprisingly waived by Milwaukee Bucks. And now he's kind of free to sign with any team. Like we don't expect him to be available for the coming season, but the season after that is when we can expect,
Yeah.
Dame to come back. Um, would we like to see Dame on the Lakers? I think the word is like he might go to Boston, but as a Laker fan, would we like to see Dame here in LA?
if that's where he wants to be, like I feel like Dame is at a point in his career where he's just like, I think he's more of a family man now. He's like, so I think that he'd probably want to be in Golden State or Sacramento or something like that, somewhere that he's
Right.
closer, somewhere where so he's closer to home. That at least that's my thought. I could be wrong about that.
Hmm.
I don't know if Los Angeles is a destination for him right now. I don't know if we necessarily need Dame.
Hmm.
We probably need a big man, and Dame doesn't fit that criteria, at least in my head canon.
What about DeAndre Ayton, man? We just got DeAndre Ayton, and everybody's like, "Whoa, you got that guy?" But I know we get it, we get it. Like it's one of those you take a flyer on it, you hope for the best.
Yeah,
But yes, the big man seems to be more of the more pressing need for the Lakers. But I wouldn't be mad at it though. I wouldn't be
I
mad to
mean, I
see
wouldn't
Dame
be. I
and
mean, don't yeah. Be clear. If Dame comes to LA, I'm all for it. I'm excited. But I don't feel like that's where he wants to be.
yeah, feel like he wants to win a championship. Obviously, it's actually interesting that the more I think about it, is like Dame is the. I think we talked about this on Hard Pass before, where what if a superstar, NBA caliber, superstar caliber type of player go never wins a championship, but has an NBA Cup championship? That would be an
Yeah,
interesting thing to come up with on the resume. Be like, oh, you only got
yeah.
the Intercontinental belt, but you never got the World Championship belt. You know,
I mean,
like
we've seen plenty of people win MVPs and All
yeah,
Stars and all that stuff that never made it, that never have a that never going to get a championship, and
yeah,
that's part of the game.
yeah, man. I thought it'd be interesting because yeah, well, Dame didn't win an MVP, but he's got all these accolades, got a gold medal, and he's got an NBA
Yeah,
Cup championship, and it would feel really odd if like he were to retire without a championship, but he does have the A championship, but not the championship. And I feel like that's going
yeah.
to be a conversation moving forward, like when it comes to people's resumes and stuff, right? Like,
I
oh,
don't know.
so and so
I
has
don't
like
know.
a yeah.
I think people respect what Dame has done. You know what I mean? Like
Mm,
Dame wasn't in the best of positions team wise
right.
to get there.
Hmm.
So I don't know if the more I think about it, I think people will just respect that, Dame was a baller,
Yeah.
a Hall of Fame level baller, but just didn't have the right pieces at the right time in order to get to the NBA championship. And
Yeah.
having the NBA Cup, I feel like having the NBA Cup and having a gold medal, that just that kind of qualifies you for anything and for any conversation, really.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to knock Dame ever for being, whatever, like allegedly like a ring chaser or anything like that. He stayed in
Yeah.
Portland for so long. And, once you stay in a particular, place for so long and it just never happens, I think people are mostly understanding of it, right? Like, I don't think Portland
Yeah.
ever, at least from what I've seen or heard, like, I don't think they knocked Dame for going to Milwaukee. And now that, Dame's at this point in his career where the championship is the only thing that he's really chasing, he's really after at this point. I don't think
Yep.
anybody should be like, oh, he's just doing this to like, get a championship on the way. And I'm like, yeah, man, a lot of greats did that. Like, shout out Gary Payton. Gary
A
Payton was one
lot
of
of
the greatest of
greats.
all time. A lot of greatest, one of the greatest of all time. And like, he was a Celtic before he was a Laker. That's, oh, wait, I think that was the order of operations. Was he? No, he was a Laker, then a Celtic. And then he won a ring with Miami, and it's like, wait, what? Like Gary Payton was a Celtic, Gary Payton was a Laker. I mean, we all remember Gary
Yeah.
Payton as a Laker, that one magical weird year, but he's a champion. He's an NBA champion with Miami, and it's that was on the way out. Like I think he retired like the following year or two afterwards, and it's like, yeah, man, you think like it's not. It's weird that you're not the guy when you win a championship, but at least you have one on the way out. Like think
Yeah.
of it as like a career achievement. And if a
I
similar
wonder
situation,
how guys feel about that. I wonder how the
oh,
guys feel about that of being winning a championship when you're not the guy anymore. Like you're just on when you're on a team that won a championship, but you're not like an active participant kind of
yeah.
thing. I wonder how
Well, at
those
least
guys process that.
yeah, at least for my recollection, from my memory, I think GP was integral part, but he wasn't, like you said, you're right. He wasn't the focal point like he was in Seattle, like I figure he would
Yeah.
feel differently about if he had won a championship in Seattle compared to when he won in Miami. I figure,
Yeah.
he probably would feel differently that way, but I don't know, man. Like, Dame to me is a Hall of Famer, one of the greatest of all time, 75.
Yep.
But well deserved. And I hope he does win one on the way out. It's one of those things where maybe it doesn't happen, maybe it does happen, but regardless of where he goes next, I'll be rooting for him as long as it's not on the Celtics.
True. Very, very, very true. Very true. No love. Sorry, Dame. Like, we respect you. You're the man in our books. But if you go to the Celtics, all that changes. All that changes.
We'll be glad you got a ring. No, don't mistake it. Like, we'll be happy, but deep down be like, we'll be like, man, they didn't have to be there.
Yeah, we'll definitely be more Dame fans in that situation than we would be Celtic fans.
All right, so moving on, Jacques, a big week for sneakers dropping. The Shattered Backboard ones. It's headlining, I guess. Like, I guess that's one of the headlining sneakers. Heat Check was pretty busy this week. If you haven't seen that, go check that out. A lot of sneakers dropping this week, and one of the headliners is the Shattered Backboard. No. I'm sorry. It's not actually dropping this week, but there's been a lot of talk about it because I've seen it on the socials. I apologize. I thought it was dropping. I thought it was.
Yeah, wait, I was going to look.
But there's been a lot of like talk. Have you seen the ad? That's the other thing I actually wanted to talk about was like, have you seen the ad for the Shattered Backboard?
Yeah, with the puppets.
Yeah.
Is that called puppets or the marionette? Marionette. There you go.
Yeah. And I thought that was pretty cool storytelling on Jordan's part to actually tell the story. Interesting that they didn't do that, as far as I remember, during the original launch. They just released it. I think we had to look up the story.
I think we found the story. I think the community found this, or to be fair, it was leaked to the community by someone at Jordan Brand what the real story of the shoe was. And the community kind of told the story the first time, and now Jordan Brand's kind of taking charge and telling the story. It's an interesting strategy from a marketing perspective, like that they're switching it up. I guess this time it's not a secret, and since they're bringing it back, they want to make sure it does well, and so that's why they're putting this ad behind it, to make sure it doesn't flop. Like, I shouldn't say flop. Make sure that it doesn't sell as well as it could based on past shoes that have returned and have kind of sat from 3s to 4s to whatever. So it's an interesting move. We'll see how well it does. Like, I know a couple of the blogs have been pushing it a lot, but I don't know. I'm still trying to get a barometer on how the community feels about it and how excited the community is about it.
Right. Jordan 1s are kind of at a low point right now, at least in perception wise, sales wise. I see Jordan 1s on shelves that I never imagined would have been on shelves not even 2-3 years ago. And to bring back the Shattered Backboard, which makes sense because it's the 10th anniversary of the original release. But are people maybe, I don't know if people are Shattered Backboard out because there have been so many variations that we're not missing it. Like, Jordan has never given us an opportunity to miss the Shattered Backboards because they've released so many Shattered Backboards in the past 10 years. You've got your different iterations, you got your satins, you got your different color blockings, you got your lows, your mids. You even got cleats coming out pretty soon. And
that part is cool. That part, I would say, is cool. If your team wears black or orange. So
yeah. But then again, that doesn't stop anybody anymore. That's actually like
that's true.
Yeah.
That's
I don't know how I feel about that anymore. I used to think it was cool that teams and players could just wear whatever colorways they want, but I think I'm kind of going back to I think I'm coming back around on it. I'm like, can we kind of coordinate, guys? Like,
I agree with that. Like, it doesn't have to be the same colors as the team, but they need to be complementary. At least make them complementary colors. Don't just wear like random colors together and it's like, nah, that don't like, it doesn't look good. Like, I get it, you want to show off the shoe, but it needs to tie in to something.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like that was one of my first signs. I'm like, I'm an old sneakerhead. Was like when they were first doing, I think when the NBA started to get all more lax with their sneakers, like allowing players to wear what they want. I was like, yeah, man, let them express themselves, yada yada yada, and all that good stuff. Now I'm like, can we at least try to match? Like I want to see, and you're right, like complimentary is the good word. Like it doesn't exactly have to
Yeah.
match the colors, but as long as it makes sense. And you can always
Yep.
go wild every once in a while. I'm not saying like people can't wear the crazy colorways and all that stuff, like but if we could at least try more often than not to kind of complement your uniforms,
Okay. All right. I like
I,
that more
I
often
think
than
I,
not. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Like I said, go crazy, go wild every once in a while, but more often than not, can we just compliment? Like I said, I like the word compliment the uniform. At least
Yes.
try. At least put some effort into
Complimentary
it.
colors. Yeah. Yeah. Get a stylist and you guys get some complimentary colors out there.
But going back to the Shattered Backboards, you did mention that a lot of the blogs have been pushing it, and I have noticed that. I see a lot of Instagram accounts. I see a lot on the YouTubes, the recommendations. They're talking about the Shattered Backboards, and some of them are trashing it because the quality is not up to par with the 2015. And I think
Mm.
Complex also did like a couple of posts about it where they showed off the differences in the retro. Oh, it's weird to say retro when the first one was also. Anyways, but it's weird that well, I don't want to see weird, but it's like interesting that there's this like push, like it's like timing wise, right? Like the sneakers coming up, and I don't know if that's like a coordinated thing between like the blogs and all that to like, hey, we'll send you a pair, talk about this and yada yada yada. We can say whatever you want and all that, but it is kind of interesting that like I said, Jordan Brand is bringing back that is doing a commercial and talking about it, and you said because the positioning of Jordan ones just aren't what they were, and they're
Right.
actually putting an effort into getting people aware of it. Like it's interesting that Jordan would actually do commercials for retros. Like they did it for the band, but that wasn't going to be a problem. Like bands were the band ones, but the Shadow Backboards, I don't know if you want to call it desperation. I don't know if you want to call it like something that's not necessarily positive, but it's like they feel like they have to try this time,
Yeah.
because they didn't have to try before. Jordans just
Nope.
came out before and they would just sell out. Now it's like it's a sign of, hey, this should be a big deal. People should be talking about this. But we're also aware that it might not sell.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of those. I'm trying to think what's different about this release versus other Jordan 1 releases that have come out this year. And I think it all ties to the way the shoes was received originally. There was
Mm-hmm.
so much hype around this shoe, and that hype has been sustained. Those shoes are still, like, I haven't looked them up lately, but I'm sure those shoes are still worth a little bit of money. So
Yeah.
it's interesting to see them, invest in it in this way, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I mean, now that I think about it, like, there's been other Nikes, Nike has brought back a couple of like, favorites from the past, and they've actually done advertising for it. Like, I think about the Wu-Tang Dunks.
Mm-hmm.
They were this elusive shoe that nobody could get, and they've, become like this mythical pair. And when they brought them back, they had the advertising for it. They had the Knicks, like a bunch of like the New
Yeah.
York Knicks, like wear pairs and everything. And when did it come out? It was pretty popular, but I think you can kind of get them now for not an obscene price at resale.
Which is great.
So yeah, which is great. And that's what it should be. Like like it's sold out, and Nike got their money, so I don't really think they should be worried about that. But yeah, no, like I said, like when they start bringing these back and actually put advertising to it, I wonder if part of it is like getting people aware of their legacy pairs, but also part of it is like, yeah, man, like we got no other ideas. We need to bring this back, but also we need to try and advertise these and get people aware of them, or else they might sit in stores, and that's not a good look for us.
Yeah, it's you know what? Now that like talking about this, it makes me think of it's like Hollywood studios. Like they
Mm,
rely so much. Jordan is like a Hollywood studio. They rely so much on past and remaking old things that it's hard for new stuff to kind of break through. But then when something new doesn't break through, they just kind of go back to the old thing. So maybe Jordan Brand is a Hollywood studio.
And you're talking to somebody who just watched the Lilo and Stitch remake and is about to watch the How to Train Your Dragon remake.
Yep. Yep. There you
It's
go.
like, you know, you gotta watch it with the family, right? So it's like, oh, you're kind of right. Jordan Brand is kind of like that Hollywood studio that has to.
Maybe that'll be our when we do maybe that's what we should write something up about that. And maybe that's how
Yeah.
we'll approach the review for the new Shattered Backboard.
So it's like relying on IP instead of creating
Yeah.
something new.
Instead of creating something new.
But is
Yeah.
that
That'd
also,
be a fun angle.
but also we can also talk about that in the vein of the audience also just not wanting to try new stuff.
Right.
You know, it's like it's also the onus. Like I feel like there's not enough. I hate to say blame, but like you know, there's not enough talked about where the consumer is just you know they just want the familiar and they're not willing to
Yes.
try. Like let's talk about like the Jordan 40, right? Like I think we and you are kind of excited. We're pretty pumped for it. We're kind of hyped for it,
Yeah.
but it's never gonna reach the general like the hype beast whatever kind of consumer who just wants the thing that they know is gonna get them the clout. They
Right.
just want the thing that's what's popping. And with the 40, we have to try to make it popping. Like we have to put the effort
Mhm.
into making it's like to say like we have to like tell them, hey, this is gonna be great, but if probably not gonna reach that critical mass of people going to be interested in it. Like it has to build slowly, and people don't want
Yeah.
slowly. They don't want something
No.
that's going to build up and become popular over time. They want something that's popular right now. So yeah, like it's like we could talk about the companies all they want because they like all these brands put up good stuff all the time, but it just doesn't seem like it's hitting with the consumer. And we can always say like, oh well, they need to do better. I'm like, well, they are doing good stuff. They are good
Yep.
putting out good
Yep.
product. But at the same time, the audience is very much trained to be like, hey, remember the shiny thing from the past? Go get that. Like, we also,
Yeah. Make that
it's
shiny
familiar.
again.
Yeah, make that shiny again. So, yeah. Yeah, no, I'm just going to be interested to see when it actually drops and how the conversation is going to be when they release. The other thing, too, this is probably going to be a problem. I think it's priced at 180, right? I think that's another sticking point is like, it's going to be cost how much?
Oh, man. It's a cold game.
It's a gold game, yeah, man. Like what were like were they 160, 140 when they first came out, and now they're at 180? It's like, ugh.
Yeah.
We're at it's only $20 away from the thing that's like current, the Air
The
Jordan
current, yeah,
40.
the newest thing that they have.
It
Yeah.
shouldn't that gap should be wider. And I'm not talking about the Jordan 1 should
100%.
be like 250. I'm talking about the Jordan 1 should be like 140, 120
Right.
below.
Right.
Like, what are we doing here? But yeah, no. So Shattered Backboard ones, I never got a pair. Did you? I think you had a pair. I think you have the
Yeah,
pair
I
of
have
the
a pair.
originals. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I have
never
a
got
pair
a
of the
pair.
originals.
I I'll think about it when it actually comes out. Like, like I definitely had my moments in through the years where I was like, oh man, I need to like buy it a resale or think about like getting the different versions and all that stuff. But I kind of just held, no, they're gonna bring it back. They're gonna bring it. But now that it's here, I'm like, all right, cool. Let's think about it. It's not because of like hype or anything like that. It's just like it's 180. Like I just can't.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
look at it and I'm like, what? What? I just can't imagine dropping that much money for a pair of Jordan ones. It's just to me, it's not. It's just so. It feels so wrong, man. It feels so wrong.
I mean, that is the world. That is the world that we are in. Prices. I mean, the prices are always going to go up. Like we can't
Yeah,
expect the prices to ever go down. Go
exactly.
down.
Right.
But the 160. I mean, 180 that is quite a bit of money for a Jordan 1 sneaker. And the problem is people continue to pay it until people stop paying that amount.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're going to do. I mean, it's like Adidas isn't charging 160 or 180 for Sambas or for Shell Toes or for Stan Smith, and there's a reason why, because people aren't really buying them for that amount. So Jordan Brand has the power until people stop buying them for those kind of crazy numbers.
Exactly. You hear that, people? Stop buying them. I will do my part. I will do my part and not give Jordan Brand $200 for Shattered Backboards. You can too. You can too. But if
Right.
you want to buy them, I'm not gonna knock you for it. You go do what you want. But if we
Yeah,
want to see these
spend your
prices,
money how you want to spend your money.
yeah. But just know that when you do that, you are basically just giving Jordan another reason to up the price because they
Yep.
could easily like I don't like they could talk about the research, they go back to the archives and they do whatever. You try to get the materials as close as possible to the originals as much as they want. But Nike sells Air Force Ones for what is it, 120? They could easily do
Something
that for
like that.
Jordan. They could easily do that for
Yeah.
Jordan ones. They could easily
Jordan
do
1
that
should
for
be the
Jordan.
same price as Air Force Ones.
Exactly. And damn the premium, damn the Jordan brand premium and all that stuff. The name, the Jumpman, all that stuff, the iconic stuff, whatever. Like they could see, like we got people angry outside. They're angry about their Jordan 1 prices. But
That's funny.
but yeah, so let's it's a lot to talk about. It's a lot to really kind of wrap our heads around, but I think it's going to be interesting to see what the reaction is going to be when the shoes actually release, I guess in August. But I think you know what it was? I think it was the cleats. The cleats are coming out this week, right? I think it's the cleats that are coming out this week. That's why in my head my brain got all confused for a second there. The Shattered Backboard cleats are coming out this week. So
yes.
I wonder how those are gonna. I wonder if we're gonna see a lot of that on the field, and I wonder though. I think it's gonna be funny when someone buys a pairs of those, and they convert it to like regular Jordan ones, or convert them to golf shoes. I think that would also be an interesting.
Man, that's gonna be quite the feat. That's a lot.
Man.
It's changing football cleats over. I mean, it's a
Yeah,
lot of
man,
work. Look, I respect the craft. For those that have that kind of skill, I respect it. I'm just not that guy.
No, you're the guy who talks to a guy who does it.
Who talks to a guy that does it? Yeah, but I don't even think he would do that. He would go the other direction.
Yeah, exactly. All right, cool. Well, let's do a quick a bit of a lightning round, and we got a couple of shoe reveals this week. Well, I guess like late last week. We got the Nike Sabrina 3, and we got
which
the
looks cool.
Zoom Freak 7. Oh, okay.
Yes.
So I don't know what to think about the Sabrina 3s, man. Like, I remember Sabrina 1s and the 2s. I think they were pretty cool out the gate, pretty fresh, nice colorways. Something about the 3, and again, I haven't seen them in person, so I can't really make an actual judgment about them. But looking at images, I don't want to say it's a step back, but it feels like more of this, like it kind of plateaued, which is weird to say for a third signature shoe. It's like we shouldn't be talking about plateauing on number 3. Like it didn't feel like it went forward.
Yeah, it looks like it went like, to me, it looks like a actual, like it looks more like a tennis shoe than it does a basketball shoe. Like that's where my mind goes when I see it. I feel like it went very like it looks like a tennis shoe almost. And then like the material change, it almost feels like when they went to the Kobe 7 or Kobe 8 when they introduced engineered mesh.
8.
Was that
it was 8?
8. Yeah, it feels like that. Like it's kind of like that with the mesh that I see for the pair, at least the pair I saw. Looks like it's kind of like a engineered mesh tennis shoe as opposed to a basketball shoe. Yeah.
You're right. I think now that I think about it, it doesn't. Maybe that's part of why it kind of looked, I want to say off, but it looked different to me. Is that it feels less like a basketball shoe and more like you said, maybe a tennis shoe or another Nike trainer. Like, if you take away all this, you take away all the Sabrina iconography, like all the icons and everything, the signature, details. You could tell me like this would be something that this would be a trainer. Like this could be a tennis shoe. This could be something that just sits on like the shelf with all of the other kind of similar range. And I'd be like, no, it looks right there. It doesn't look out of place with anything. Like basketball wouldn't be my first guess. Is kind of what I'm getting at.
Yep.
Like it wouldn't be my first guess. And again, I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing right now. I just feel like I need to see more. I think I need to see them in person, and I need to see them like, Sabrina actually rock them on the court to kind of get it more like maybe once I see them like actually performing on the court, then I'll be like, oh, okay, now it makes sense. It wasn't like that with the 1 and the 2. Like when the 1 and the 2, I was like, oh, these are dope. These are fire. These will look great on the court.
Yeah.
And yeah, so with the 3, it's more of a wait and see for me.
Okay, I could see that because it definitely, like I said, it doesn't feel basketball. It feels cross trainery like tennis. So if that's not your style, or you don't like associate that with your style, then I can see why people would kind of turn away from that.
Yeah, yeah. And then moving on to the Giannis Zoom Freak. Is it still the Giannis or is it just called the Zoom? Like, I'm always confused with the name conventions with Giannis. Like, is it
Oh,
like
that's a
the
good
Zoom Freak
question.
7, the Giannis 7? Because I feel like we went like for different iterations, we kind of had Giannis's name on there, and then it went away,
Yeah,
and
that's a good
now I think
question.
when I looked at the post, it was like Giannis Freak 7. Is it Zoom Freak 7? Like it's just I don't know. But
Yeah, well, Nike's calling it the Nike Giannis Freak 7.
yeah, I feel like that's something that we need to kind of get straight.
Yeah, so the Giannis Freak 7.
And I like them. I like them. They
Yeah.
kind of remind me of the LeBron. What year was it? Like the LeBron 20 something, 21. Like there was something about it, like the wavy patterns on the side panels that just reminded me of like a particular LeBron. But of course, the reverse swoosh kind of gives it away that this is the Giannis shoe. Um,
Yeah. It feels
yeah,
like
like
a like more it feels more like the it's like a mix of the LeBron and the Darwin kind of is
ah,
what it looks like to me.
right,
I don't
right.
know if that's just the swoosh or if it's the lines, but it's like a mid-cut mix of the LeBron and the Darwin. If
Yeah, I
that
can see
makes any
that.
sense at all.
I can see
For
that. I can
people
see
that
that.
are super into sneakers, you might get that, but for the rest of you.
Yeah, yeah. When you see when you see the reverse swoosh on a basketball shoe, your mind, like if you're definitely of the, if you have that knowledge, the Darwin is definitely
Yeah.
going to come to mind when you see that. Another thing that also reminded me of was like the Air Penny 4, just because of like the orange and the black, just the way that it contrasts. It
Oh, okay.
reminds me of like the Penny 4 in a way. So, and you can't go wrong with that because I do love the Penny 4s, but. Yeah, man, like the Giannis, the freak. See, my I can't get it right. I can't get the name right. It's like Zoom Freak. Nope, Giannis 7. Ah, no,
Giannis Freak 7.
Giannis Freak 7. Okay, but I would say this is probably like another. Again, it's another one of those like we're kind of getting later on in the line, and they're picking up their game. I
Yep.
do. I think it is an interesting iteration of the Giannis line because I think we've talked about this on Hard Pass. Like, I don't see the Giannis shoe, the signature shoe around, but I do see a lot of his takedowns. Like, I always thought that was
Yeah.
interesting. I don't know if I told this on Hard Pass or like I wrote it on a Hard Pass or if we talked about it on a podcast, but there was this time when I went to Disneyland with the family and I saw the Giannis immortality more than I ever saw like any freak shoe. And I was like, man,
Hmm.
so he's building up his brand not through his signature shoe, but through the takedowns. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, if that's what works. I mean, the kids, I see a lot of kids, like my nephews play ball. And
Mhm.
so like I'll see at a lot of their games, they'll have like the takedowns of the Giannis Freak 7. But that's probably more parents.
Yeah.
That's probably more parents just buying like, they can get these for a really good price. So I
Hmm.
get that. I get
Yeah,
that part of
totally.
it.
Yeah, but and like you said, it builds up the Giannis brand and makes
Yeah.
him a little bit more interesting in that regard. Where
Yep.
if people aren't feeling the signature shoe, whether it's pricey, whether the look just doesn't work for them, they want something a little bit more basic, down to earth, and affordable. They can always go with the immortality. And yeah, no, I just
Yeah.
thought it was interesting that I was seeing kids and adults wearing the immortalities around, and I'm like, huh, just because you never see people wearing soldiers. You never see people wearing ambassador like the LeBrons. I, I
Yeah.
might be wrong, but I've never seen anybody wear the soldiers off the court. So I'm just saying, like and it's interesting to me that I see people wearing, Giannis's takedowns compared, in
Yeah.
comparison. Yeah,
I think it's
so
the price point. It's probably the price point because the soldiers are still kind of expensive. So
yeah.
I think Giannis's shoes are obviously a lot less expensive, and I don't know if people associate LeBron with the LeBron signature line. I think with
Yeah.
Giannis, it hasn't been so defined, and so that's why people are open to wearing his takedown, wearing the Immortal or the Freak, knowing they just know that it has something to do with Giannis, as opposed to like the LeBron line, where it's like the LeBron 21 or the 22 or the 23 or whatever. That's the shoe kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you don't see people really wearing what is it right now? It's not the Soldier, it's like the next generation, the NXXT,
Yeah,
those ones. Yeah.
yeah,
Even though they think they're interesting because some of them do kind of remind me of the original Zoom generations, but yeah, it's not a sneaker that you really see out and about, which again is just funny to me that I see Giannis's shoe. I'm like, oh, hey, Giannis, hey, Antetokounpo. And
yeah.
and then when I do
Antetokounmpo.
that, people and then when I do that, like people are like, what the hell are you pointing at?
Oh, hey,
Yeah,
that's
don't do
funny.
that. Don't do that.
Don't
Don't do that.
Gotta do what you gotta do sometimes.
Yeah, 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 totally. All right, so we are almost at that time. We're time to
Yes.
close out the show. But before we do that, it's time for everybody's favorite sneaker segment. It's Sneaker Mount Rushmore Plus time.
I feel like I'm gonna lose today because I already know what it is, and I'm gonna lose today.
Hey man, I just thought because with the latest collaboration between Levi's and Nike dropping this week, it's the Levi's Air Max 95 collab. I thought it'd be fun, and I guess it's not actually going to be fun for you. I was shocked when you said that. But today we are doing the Denim Sneaker Mount Rushmore Plus. So, Denim has been a pretty popular option for sneakers. We've seen them on all different collaborations and non-collaborations through the years. And I've been a fan of a couple of denim sneakers here and there. Seems like
Mm-hmm.
you're not. So, but
No, I am. I am.
which I did not
I'm not.
know.
I'm not a. It's not that I'm not a fan of them. I just don't have a lot.
Ah,
So I don't have like. I don't have like in my brain. I don't have a reference to them automatically, just because I haven't. I
yeah,
just don't own a lot of them. I've seen a bunch of them, but I don't own a bunch of them. So, but I have some.
gotcha.
I have some ideas. I have some
Okay.
ideas.
Gotcha. I didn't want to like misrepresent you in any way, buddy.
No. It's all good. All good. All good. All good.
All right, cool. So today we are gonna do it. We do have our categories and all that stuff, but today we're gonna do it like this: one Nike, one Jordan brand, one New Balance, because there's actually not a lot of Adidas denim sneakers. I looked this up and then there's like, oh, there's not really a lot to choose from, huh? Who would have thought? So we're gonna do one Nike, one Jordan, one New Balance, and then two wild cards. So just go crazy with that.
Okay.
Um, I went first last week, right?
Okay.
Okay,
So
so
then
you will start.
I'll
Yes.
go first. For Nike, I'm gonna go with the LeBron NSW. I'm trying to remember what year it was.
Oh,
The
those are good.
the Fireberry with like the pink, I
Yeah.
think it was. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So they did a denim version of those. I think it was the LeBron 12, maybe the
Was it
11 or
11 or
12, something like that.
was there the 10 or the 11, I think. No, it was the
Maybe the
10.
10, maybe
It
10,
was
the
the 10.
10,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
10. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, the 10.
That was when
So
Nike was really in their experimental, let's make our signature guys like,
yeah,
lifestyle models and all that stuff. That was a pretty good era. Like, and I
that
get
was a
why they
great
kind of,
era.
yeah, I kind of get why they went away from that because people weren't buying it. But I do love the experimental phase of that where
Yeah.
they were really trying things. And yeah, I think there was like the denim pair, the cork pair,
Yep.
was also from that time. Oh, I don't know if I ever told you this. We were at a Nike thing at headquarters, and I forget what it was. It was like a presentation of like different sneakers and everything. And I was relatively new. Like I think that was like the first time I was ever invited to like Nike HQ in LA.
Mm-hmm.
And they were showing off like, new stuff and everything. And I took a picture and they showed off the LeBron cork when it was like, I don't know if it had leaked yet or if people, it was just like, like
Uh,
hearsay and all that stuff. And I took a picture and posted
yeah.
it and I got in trouble for that.
Oh, oh.
There was a very sternly worded email.
Okay. All right.
And I was like, oh, I thought we were like, because they never said don't take pictures. They never said don't post it or anything. I guess it was just one of those. you're here. You're not supposed. You're supposed to know. You're not supposed to know
Oh,
that.
you're
You're
supposed to
not just.
know that this is not something to share. Got
Yeah,
it.
you never signed.
Okay.
But I'm like, my thing was like, I didn't sign an NDA. Like that's not how that works in the other journalism, quote unquote, the jobs that I worked with. I didn't sign an
Right.
NDA. I didn't like, whatever. But anyways, but I remember that email, and I was like, oh, oops, sorry
Got it.
guys.
All
But
right.
also, I'm not sorry for posting. But anyways, yeah, no, so that's cool. The NSW Nike LeBron 10, yeah, stuff
10.
with
I
the
think 10.
denim.
Yeah.
That's cool. So for my Nike pick, I'm gonna go back to something that I actually owned back in the days. It's the Air Force One denim from 2002. I still remember when I first saw them. It was at the Foot
I have to
Action.
look
Shout
these
out to
up.
Foot Action. The Foot Action in the West Covina Mall in 2002. And we're just walking, peoples and all that were walking, and then I see the shoe and I'm like, oh, that's cool. An Air Force One, and it's got a denim swoosh on it. I'm like, oh,
Oh, got it. Okay.
that was pretty cool. And I was like, oh shoot, I want that. And it was in a glass case. It was like, it was not out. And I actually had to sign up for it wasn't a raffle, it was just like you had to put your name on a list, and then and then you could go buy it like whenever it came out. I don't know if it was like a week or two later. And
Oh, okay.
yeah. So I just put my name on the list. It was basically kind of like a pseudo pre-order. And a couple of weeks later I got them, and I wore that sucker for years. Like
Hmm.
it was definitely one of those like just everyday pairs, and would just wear them with jeans and all that stuff, whatever. In the summertime, just wear them out shorts. Didn't matter. It was just one of those everyday pairs that I had, and I wore them until basically the damn things were the soles were coming off. And they were
Right.
so dirty. And yeah, man. And I always make the joke of like, keep your Air Forces One clean and all that stuff. We do that on hard pass, but whatever, man, do what you do. And those things got like I tried to keep them clean, but eventually it was just like it got to a point where
Yeah.
nah, man, it's time to just let it go.
Can't keep at this point. It's embedded into the leather. Gotta let it go. That's funny.
All right, so we're doing the snake drafts style. So for my Jordan pick, I'm going to go with another pair that I have. I think when we did the Jordan 4 Rushmore, I think I showed this off. It's the Air Jordan 4 Shashiko. It's
Mm.
Japanese denim. It's got the different designs
So
on it.
good.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
good.
pretty cool. Different colors. There's actually like red on it too. The patterns are pretty neat, and I've never gotten around to customizing it because I think I would fail miserably in getting them distressed and all that stuff. I'm actually afraid to touch them in that way, to like
Yeah.
mess with it or do whatever fraying and all that stuff. I don't know I would probably mess it up badly, but I guess that's kind of the point.
Yep.
But yeah, no, so that would be my pick
Okay.
for the Jordan.
All right. And if we're gonna stick with Jordan, then I'll go with the Jordan 4 as well. But this is the Levi's collab,
Hmm.
considering they're doing the Levi's stuff with the whatchamacallits right now. So I like that one. I like the in particular, I like the white Air Jordan 4 denim.
Yeah.
Just because I've seen some cool customs of it that looks
Hmm.
super sick. And I like you am like too afraid. I have a pair, but I like you am too afraid to do anything to them because I would just mess them up. So yeah, I'm too scared. On the New Balance side of things, I don't know very much about New Balance, so I'm cheating right now, guys, and I'm looking this up so I can get a New Balance sneaker with denim on it. And the one I'm gonna go with. They have a Levi's collab. Perfect. The
Yeah.
New Balance Levi's 327 collab. There you go. That's the one Oh, it looks nice
Oh,
though. It looks nice though. It does look nice. I like
yeah.
that denim.
It's gonna pick that one too, the 327. Is it like there's like a mismatched pair where there's like it's like blue denim on one side and then white denim on the other side? There's like a mismatched pair or something like that. I was like,
Oh no, I didn't
oh,
see that.
it's like, oh no, it's not a mismatch. It's a split pair where like one half, like the medial side is like blue denim and the lateral side is like white denim or something like that. And I thought that was like
Okay,
an
okay.
interesting,
I'm not
yeah,
mad at
look.
that.
No, not a matter. That's like very creative. But since you went with the 327, I'm going to go with the 990 V3, the gray pair because it's New Balance. Might as well
Of
go with the
course.
gray. You can't really Can't really fault New Balance for that. You know, they got to stick with the thing that brought them to the big dance.
Yep.
Grays.
The grays.
The grays. Like I love that. I love that New Balance has just embraced the gray. Like, you know, people make jokes
Embrace
about
the
the
gray.
dad. Yeah, yeah, no, just they made, you know, it's the dad pair, it's the whatever, it's the one that you know, mow your lawn with and all that stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
I just love that they've embraced it. They're just like, yo, man, this is us. And, you know, and they've made it cool. Like, you know, you can always go different shades of gray with that. So yeah, no, I love that. So I'm gonna go with the Levi's 990 V3, gray, the gray
That's a good
version.
one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
All right. So for my wild card, I'm going to go with another Japan centric pair. It's the Asics Gel Light 3, and it's made in Japan.
Ooh.
So yeah, I mean, you know, you hear Ace. I mean, you know, Asics is a Japanese brand anyway, so you might as well go with that. And they've done a lot of like different denim inspired pairs through the years, but the Gel Light 3, it's one of those like, oh, it's a nice implementation of that design style.
All right, I respect that. I respect that. And then for my wild card now? My two wild cards, right?
Yes, two wild cards. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
for my first wild card is going to be the Air Jordan 6 wash denim, just because I think it's probably one of the most terrible denim sneakers out there.
I was gonna say,
just,
I was like, I don't know if you were like, oh, you're like, I'll be honest, when you said that, I was like, is he a fan of those? Because those look bad.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, I get what they were trying to do, but it just looks bad. At least in my opinion, it looks bad. And then for my other wild card, Adidas actually has a really cool Samba denim Samba shoe that they did with Atmos. I believe it's a women's exclusive. This was I can't remember how long ago it was, but yeah, I'm gonna rock with that one. The Adidas Samba and denim. It was a Atmos collab. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so I've thought about this for my final wild card pick, and I know you're gonna give me hell for it because once I say what brand it is, you're gonna be like, "Oh, look at one, you're gonna go with that one." It's the Louis Vuitton LV trainer in denim.
Oh, of course. I mean, there's no reason to be ashamed of it. Like, that's your lifestyle, bro.
I like them, man. I think they look great, and I've thought about buying them.
And as you should, you live a life where those shoes are acceptable to you, and they're pocket change for you, which is cool.
I don't know why.
Yeah, no, they look great. Yeah.
They look nice, man.
I'm not saying they don't look nice.
It's just that they're Louis Vuittons, and I know when I say that, you're gonna be like, "Oh, look at it, you told me one over here."
No, you look. Which ones are you talking about? Which one? The trainer?
It's the white. Yeah. It's the LV trainer in white and denim.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's only like $1,300. So what? Whatever. I got you. That's cool. It's cool.
Look, I had different choices, but I was like, I need to say it because I think it actually does look cool.
It because I care. You care for. I got it. You got that. You have multiples. I get it. Cool. Okay.
No,
that's cool.
I have one. Okay, I have one LV trainer.
Close enough. More than I have. I can tell you that.
Oh, damn! I made a terrible mistake.
No, not a mistake.
Terrible mistake. Bringing this up.
It's a cool looking shoe. I do like the overall. I like the LV trainer overall, as from a design perspective. Yeah. So I agree that it's a cool looking shoe.
Yes, but you're gonna judge me because I picked it.
No, I would never judge you. I would never judge you.
Today?
Never ever. Never ever say anything about that.
And with that note, this was episode 44 of the Too Hard, Too Fast podcast. I am the non-judgmental Juan Martinez, and Jacques Slade, who says he's not judging me.
I'm the non-judgmental Jacques Slade. I'm happy that Juan has the disposable income in order to buy Louis Vuitton $1,300 sneakers. That's a privilege that not all of us have, and you should be proud of it, bro. We're proud of you. Anyway, thank you guys for checking out the podcast, watching or listening or doing both. Maybe you're doing both. Either way, we appreciate you. Make sure you leave us a comment. Make sure you leave us a recommendation. Make sure you do all the things to let more people know about this podcast. We enjoy doing it for you guys, and we hope you enjoy it just as much as we enjoy doing it. You can give us send us an email at toohard2passpodcast, number 2, that's at gmail.com, or reach out to us on social. I'm Cousteau. He's Easyville. All the things. We appreciate you guys. Hit us up. And we'll talk to you guys soon.
All right. Peace. Oh, wait. The email. We always forget this.
Oh, I said that. No, I said toohardtopasspodcast at gmail.com. I said that.
Oh, was I just not listening to you? Is that?
Yeah,
is
Juan wasn't listening to me.
Wow, again, I am so sorry.
Yeah, he's winning today, ladies and gentlemen. All right, guys. Rich Homie Juan has to go. He's got other things to do. Peace.